What's up, guys? This is Jamie again here with Phenom Hoops. We're here with Jeff Bendel, our Director of Player Analysis here at Phenom Hoops. We're here with Rick Lewis, the founder of Phenom Hoop Report here. Guys, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Doing great.
Good? Things going all right?
Yes, sir.
Enjoying the weather?
Absolutely. Feels like fall today.
Good. We're coming at you here from the lovely Statesville, North Carolina, and LMD here. Wanted to touch base on the 2023 class. These are the new 8th graders, rising 9th graders. This is a very good class for North Carolina, shaping up to be very nice. A lot of guys are gaining national attention very early, which is pretty typical in North Carolina. But there are a lot of guys that are gaining national attention pretty early. There are also a lot of guys who are playing at an incredibly high level that people don't know yet. We're not going to go in depth into the class. We don't like to really talk too much about younger kids.
Right.
And really want to let them give time for us to see them, give time for them to progress as prospects and players. Jeff, as a whole, what are you seeing from this 2023 class in North Carolina?
I mean, from the beginning, I think it's loaded with guard talent.
Yes.
That's obvious. I think we had 4 guards in the top 20, top 40 game, that the CP3 Rising Stars game, which is most of the talented kids from the 8th grade class. But yeah, I think a lot of these guys that are the big guys and the versatile wings and stuff, they're going to emerge later. But I think that it's obvious to see how much talent this class is going to have.
Yeah, Rick. So we're coming off of a 2022 class that had that's proven to be pretty good. 3 guys that are incredible at the highest national level, 5-star guys in the initial rankings, and then we have a depth of guys coming in behind them with the likes of Patrick Wessler, Daniel Sanford, and Jaden Young, and the list goes on and on and on. What are you seeing about kind of the depth? They might not have that high level 5-star talent at the top, but the depth of it as a whole is pretty good. What are you seeing? I guess kind of as this 2023 class is coming about.
Well, I think Jeff alluded to, it's going to be very predominantly guard heavy to start with. I think that's true almost with every single class we look into, because guards play is going to be the ones that you notice the most. The other guys will develop later as they get into high school. But again, we're talking about the depth of the class.
Yeah.
We have so much talent in North Carolina, and especially each and every class. This is shaping up to be just as strong as some of the classes in front of it, which shows the trend is that the players in North Carolina just keep getting better and better.
There's no question about that, and I think people at the national level are kind of focusing on North Carolina too. They're seeing the trend coming out of the Carolinas of talent. I guess let's start off a little bit with talking about some of these players. Don't want to go too in depth. Talk about maybe the 5 or 10 of them that really stick out. We'll just see where the conversation carries us. One of the people that I saw at the CP3 Rising Stars camp this past week that really stood out was Jalen Curry. He was probably the best player from North Carolina that I saw at the times that I saw the players at the camp. He's obviously the USA National. He's the guy that got invited to the USA camp. Jeff, what are your thoughts on Jalen Curry?
I mean, he's electric. Every time out, he's going to do something that really makes your jaw drop. Very exciting, very quick, capable scorer, downhill guy. Pretty solid athlete for a middle school guy. Just brings that intensity. He's wired differently than a lot of guys, I think. Yeah.
Jeff, Trey Green comes from not only a athletic family, but also comes from a basketball-rich area in Charlotte. Playing up age group with Team Charlotte on their 15s, as a 14U kid. What are your thoughts about Trey Green and his prospects, and also as a player and an athlete?
Well, we got to see Trey Green quite a few times when we did the Queen City Middle School Showcase, and then later on he played up with Team Charlotte. We also saw him a little bit during the summer when I think they played with their high school team. Trey's going to be one of these players that's going to be everybody in the area of Charlotte metro area is going to know who Trey Green is the first day he steps on the court advanced.
Yes.
Here's a young man that has great quickness, and he's able to shoot lights out. He's one of the best, I think, perimeter shooting point guards we're going to see in quite some time. His motor and the way he plays sort of reminded me of a young Devon Dotson, but with a better jump shot. He's really pretty quick on quick. So I really think he's going to be one of these players that's going to be on a national level guard. as we speak.
And it's interesting enough too. We didn't mean it this way, but it just thought about me as you said that these two guards will also be backcourt teammates at Vance High School.
Right.
Jalen Curry and Trey Green.
Along with Daniel Sanford
Yeah.
and Daniel Ransom.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a squad.
Yeah, must watch basketball immediately.
Agreed.
I guess moving on to Jalen Curry's AAU teammate,
Mhm.
Aiden Holloway, who just picked up a Syracuse offer in the last couple weeks. What are your thoughts about Aiden Holloway?
I mean, he's a prolific three-point shooter, especially at this stage. I mean, that's what he's tapped for, very crafty. He's probably one of the most popular kids I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, everybody loves him, everybody knows him.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to be around him, talk to him, everything. It'll be interesting to see his continued physical growth because, I mean, it's apparent that he has the shooting ability to be very successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, his brother Leo's 6'5" and an athlete, college level player as well. So he does have that type of size running in his family. Rick, staying on the guard front, you know, we alluded to that the guard play was
Right.
incredibly heavy in this class. London Johnson's a player that we've had come through our camps.
Right.
We've seen him play at the high school level and AAU level. What do you think about London as a player?
You're talking about probably what, 6'2"?
Mm-hmm.
Very long, just extremely long player. Plays above his age level. Very talented. Really good getting to the rim, but he also has the ability to score from all three levels. I think what's intriguing about him is just his overall size, length, and athleticism,
Yeah.
accompanied with his matching skill set.
And he's got a very vibrant feel to his game too. He kind of has a bounce, like Kobe White. I'm not saying he's comparing him to Kobe White, but Kobe had kind of a bounce and a vibrancy to his game. That kind of London has that same kind of feel. Moving along, Tremaine Parker. We've known his brother Quay for a while now. Tremaine coming through, the next Parker in line, next guard out of Fayetteville. What are your thoughts about Tremaine as a player?
I mean, since we've seen him over the last year and a half, 2 years, he's just been unbelievable every time we see him. I mean, I think it's exciting that the kid is able to do crazy, exciting dunks in transition and whatnot. But his feel is so unbelievable, and that's specifically for a middle school player. The way he boxes out for rebounds, the way that he makes the proper read, the way that he can see the entire floor from any spot, the way that he can score from anywhere. He's unstoppable right now, and I think if I were to be making a personal list, I think he would be my number one guy in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Followed probably closely by Robert Dillingham, who I think has also kind of built a reputation as one of the most popular guys in the state because he's just so electric and he's so polished and able to just do anything with the ball in his hands.
And it's kind of cool with Robert too, is he's from Hickory, North Carolina. All these other guys from Charlotte, from bigger cities and that kind of stuff. Not a lot of basketball talents come out of Hickory, so there's a little bit of an unknown factor there with Dillingham too. But then all of a sudden he shows up and goes at some people's necks. Rick, what have you seen from Tremaine Parker?
He's one of the most athletic players. It's sort of like, his brother Quay was super athletic. I think the difference maker between him and his brother, Tremaine, has the explosiveness, the athleticism. I think the thing that separates him from any other player that has that amount of athleticism is his skill set.
Yeah.
Here's a young man that is really skilled. I think the combination of those two make him going to be one of the top players in the state for his class for many years to come. He'll be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys on that. Another guy who's starting to make national waves recently, we saw him, we personally saw him at camps and stuff, but he really turned our heads at the Queen City Middle School Showcase. With his size, with his athleticism and ability to run the floor. But I guess in the last couple of weeks he's picked up with CP3. They played the Made Hoops national event finale or whatnot. Addison Archer, he's from the mountains. He's big and he runs incredibly well. What have you seen from Addison Archer? What do you like from him moving forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw him at our Tennessee camp over a year ago. We've known about the kid, and he was, as we've already just said, a very under-the-radar guy. Yeah. They made their own team because they thought they had something special with Asheville Game Changers, and they did. And then, he turned out to be so good that, circuit-level teams wanted him and were courting for him. All that stuff that you said is incredibly impressive. His timing as a shot blocker and as a rim protector, rebounder, rim protector is what is the most impressive thing for me every time.
Natural instincts.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that's a legitimate threat to get 5 to 10 buckets every game.
Every single game played. Rick, what does it say about a prospect who's already this tall at 6'6", 6'7", probably closer to 6'7", and as coordinated an athlete as he is?
Well, there's a premium at the collegiate level, at any level, for shot blockers and
Yes.
rim protectors. And the thing about it is, with him being so young, just to be an 8th grader, going to be a rising freshman, his maturity level as far as the timing to block shots, you know, he plays above the rim for rebounds. It's really impeccable for someone that young to have that good of a feel as far as timing is concerned for blocking shots and getting rebounds. That's unusual.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's awesome to see.
And he's also kind of expanded as an offensive player as well. I mean, he's starting to shoot the three. I mean, he's putting the ball on the floor a little bit. It'll be a process offensively, but defensively, he's already well equipped to be a dominant defensive force.
You know, if he grows to 6'8", 6'9", I mean, it's unbelievable.
The sky's the
potential,
limit.
and the sky's the limit for
Bryce
him.
Johnson type of guy.
Right.
So we want to reiterate too, these are just the 2023s that we've seen. In the future years, there's going to be a ton of people that come out. I don't want to say come out of the woodworks, but that develop later. There's going to be people that maybe we just haven't seen yet.
These are guys we've seen in event settings that we've had.
Yeah.
And you guys have gone to the CP3 camp and be able to venture out and see a few more guys, but
Yeah.
a lot of these guys we've actually laid our eyes on and seen multiple times.
Without question, and we don't want to say that these are the only ones that could be good, because there are going to be more.
Yeah.
There are going to be more ads that list. Some of these guys are going to taper off, and there are going to be other ones that come out and really show themselves to be
Right.
at the top of the list. But we just wanted to kickstart the 2023 class with a couple of names
Right.
that we've seen multiple times that we're comfortable enough to talk about, that other people should go and see as well.
And the good thing about a lot of these, we're going to see a lot of these young freshmen making impacts on their high school team
Yes.
early.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So I guess in keeping on with that thought, Jeff, who are a couple of other kids in the 2023 class in North Carolina? You don't have to go one sentence, maybe only on them that you've seen that you think people should keep a watch out for as well.
I'm really high on Marcus Brown. Probably the most versatile guy I've seen in the 8th grade for North Carolina kids. 6'4", 6'5", ball skills, game-changing defensive player, rebounds that just can score in a variety of ways. I'm really excited about his growth. Tyler Bailey is a walking bucket. A guy that came to our camp, has been with CP3 for the last couple of years. Very good. Caleb Carter is a guy that I think people might not know about yet, but people will know about soon. He's transferring from Concord First Assembly. Slipping my mind where he's going, but at 6'3", 6'4", I mean, he's got great length, and his dad is huge. He looks projected like he's going to grow. But just a very versatile two-way player. Offensively, able to initiate offense and create for others, or defensively, you can switch across those positions. Same thing with Dice Royster, another guy that would be on our list. We've seen him multiple times at camp.
Absolutely. So guys, as we said, we didn't want to go really too in depth with a whole bunch of the stuff, but we did want to name a couple of 2023 prospects. One place that these 2023 prospects can be seen at is our camps coming up. Rick, we've added a few extra camps that we have coming. We've added some in different regions of the state and also in new states. Talk a little bit about what camps we have coming up and what kind of platform that these camps provide for these players and kids to get seen.
Before we do that, I also want to mention one more player, and I think it's a unique ability, Cole Calloway.
Yeah.
It's going to be at Davidson Day. Might end up being one of the best three-point shooters in the state of North Carolina before his career is over with. So I'm anxious to see him at Davidson Day next year as a freshman.
Aiden Richards is another one. Bryce Cash is another one. Both guys that I think so.
We're going to have the Phenom camps. We're going to start off with the junior Phenom camp. We're going to have camps in Kingsport, Tennessee. We're going to start off in August. We're going to do the junior Phenom camp at Garner Road. That's August the 10th. The week later, we're going to have the one for the high school kids. Then we're going to do one, a Phenom camp in the western part of the state, and then we're going to venture out to states like Tennessee, South Carolina, and also Virginia, and then we're going to do a boatload of camps here in North Carolina. But these are great opportunities, especially in September and October, for these young players to come and participate, get their name out right before the high school season starts.
Mm-hmm. And Rick, speak a little bit too about it's not only for these players to come get seen by us. We do have a pulse. We do have college coaches that talk to us regularly, and we can kind of provide a narrative for players moving forward and their prospects. But also, everybody looks at what our stuff too. So it's an opportunity for these players to get seen by college coaches. It's an opportunity for these players to get seen by scouts. It's an opportunity for these players just to get seen and enhance their exposure.
Well, a lot of these events, and we've alluded to this before, a lot of these events are available to D2 and D3 coaches. They can attend these events, and a lot of times they do. That being said, the amount of exposure that each and every player gets from these camps is immense. I mean, you're talking about every single kid that comes to this camp is going to get their own evaluation posted on the website. And you know as well as I do, anytime we get those evaluations, they like to circulate them out on social media.
Oh yeah.
So, social media is free. It's a great avenue to get their name out to college coaches. We're going to follow up, send a report out to college coaches about the top players from each individual camp. So it's just a good platform, good opportunity for players to really, if they're especially the younger guys that's wanting to make a name for themselves, it's a great opportunity for them to compete because they're going to be, say, rising freshmen at the schools. They'll be going up against sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So it's a good test for these young players knowing what high school basketball is all about.
Without question.
Couldn't agree more.
Jeff, speak a little bit toward how much or how often it happens to where we will come in at the camp, we'll see a player participate, we'll tweet out about a player, we'll put an Instagram or write up about a player, and then a coach, be a high school coach, or a national scout, even guys that are out of region scouts, or an AAU coach or a college coach will text you and ask me, hey, I saw this 6'3" shooting guard, we need a shooter, or how does he shoot the ball,
right.
Or hey, this guy, like a national scout saying, hey, this guy sounds super intriguing, tell me a little bit more about him. How often does that type of exposure happen, with you in our camps?
I mean, honestly, it's a pretty regular thing.
Yeah.
I would say, well, at least one player from every camp.
Yeah.
Now that situation happens with, but it's never limited to just one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's like this is a platform for kids to be seen and get exposure, but it's also a platform for these guys that have already felt like they've established themselves to really take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, and Rick, this is something that we've seen over the last couple of years. As you said earlier in this thing, every class continues to get better and better and better, and the talent gets better and more competitive at younger ages. You mentioned that we're doing, you've been doing the Junior Phenom Camp for 15 or since 2003 now. Now we're expanding it to kind of regionally, taking the Junior Phenom Camp. I don't want to say what is the difference, but what is kind of the goal of the exposure for middle school kids to come, and what is kind of the goal for exposure for the high school kids to come? Because there are different avenues for both.
Yeah. For the middle school kids, it's more of an evaluation camp than exposure camp. Because we're not ranking any of the kids, and we're not basing any rankings till the kids get into high school. And we don't even rank the freshman class. We wait till they're sophomores before we start ranking them. I think the middle school is a situation where it gives a lot of players the opportunity to measure up against other players in the state to see where they stack up. And the evaluation process is, after the camp's over, we sort of make sure that each player gets their evaluation. We tell them these are the things that they're strong at, these are the strengths, and these are the areas of improvement. So they can take that evaluation home with them and work on it and say, this is the thing. And also, if you're a young player and you go into a camp and you're going against somebody who already has a national reputation or a statewide reputation, it's really good to go over to the camp to compete against those players to see how you stack up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing from it. The more opportunities you have to play against bigger players, the better you're going to become.
Absolutely. And Jeff, what do you think? How important do you think it is for these prospects, younger, even guys that all into high school, to start their resume? Now, after they come to this camp, they're going to be able to go to Google. College coaches are going to be able to go to Google. Scouts, their friends, their aunts, uncles, parents are going to be able to go to Google, put their name in, and they'll have something pop up about their basketball talents. How important is it for these players to start their resume?
Well, I think it's extremely important, and I also think that, we, in our group message, we trade around many picks from kids that were in our middle school camp who are now national level guys.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of speaks to how it works. We see these guys at a young age. Nick Farrar was one we've already said in this conversation earlier, that we saw at a young age grow his game. And that's other guys that are more, polished at that time. London Johnson is a guy that we've seen at both camps. It gives us a chance to, kind of see these guys early on and then have them on our radar throughout.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the most important thing is with the website, with the player search engine, that a player can type in his name. Every single article we've ever done on a player will pop up. the fun part about it is when you get a player when they're a senior, or like for example, John Morant came to our camp 4 years ago, and we had the little mixtape of them at the Phenom camp. It's really fun to watch a young prospect at the 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through their high school career, and see how the evaluations from the 7th grade to the 8th grade to the 10th grade to the 12th grade, how they evolve. But in many cases, the evaluations are very similar as far as the player themselves. They dovetail very nicely with each other. I'll never forget a conversation one time with Dennis Smith's father, and this was when he was in high school, and we were talking about the one camp that we had Quay Parker, and we had 7th Woods, and we had Harry Giles, we had Dennis Smith. You know, that was a 7th grade class. And this was when Dennis was a junior in high school. And he said, Rick, I will never forget your evaluations of Dennis when he was in the 7th grade. And I said, well, how do we do? He goes, you were spot on. So those are the type of things that you really enjoy watching and reading. It's almost like reading a biography of a player from the 7th grade to their senior year. And that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, without question. So I guess, guys, any final thoughts on the 2023 class? Any final thoughts on the class as a whole, or anything?
I think 2023 will go down as another outstanding class in North Carolina. We get redundant with it, but North Carolina just produces talent.
Yeah, and I like what you said too, because we've seen all these guys. They've come through our events, put their names in the search engine. They've already started their resume with Phenom Hoops, so we're going to be able to follow them 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and then even into college and all that stuff. So that is very exciting to be able to watch and see. Guys, make sure you do. We've mentioned it a lot here. PhenomHoopReport.com. That's PHENOM HoopReport.com online. Make sure you go look at the search engine. Go look at the people that we've had come in the past and look up some names from the area and see what we've said about them. For Jeff Bindle, for Rick Lewis, we thank you very much.
You guys got it? All right, hard work on 3, sprint to the next spot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hard work. Sprint to the next spot. Don't walk. Get there, get there, get there, get there.